Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's webinar. My name is Susan Harden, and I'm with AGS. I'm going to be your presenter this afternoon. So you are here at the Apprenticeship Building America Pre-Built Data and Reporting Solution webinar hosted by AGS Data Systems. So let's go ahead and get started. So if this is where you thought you were going to be today, you are certainly in the right place. So with a picture being worth 1,000 words, as they say, I'm going to go through a couple of items of housekeeping. These are some of our customers who are with us for H-1B grants and some of our AGS Prime customers. So this is a live two-way presentation. So please, if you're here with your telephone, don't use your mute, your hold button so we don't hear your background music, please. And if you're here on your computer, just mute your speakers, if you will, or minimize your background noise. So as always, thank you very, very much for being here this afternoon. We have a small group, so we certainly may have some time for questions and answers at the end if you like. And let's go ahead and get started. So congratulations to all of you on winning your grant. It's super exciting. So this is the agenda for today. This comes right out of the email invitation. So no changes, no smoke and mirrors, as we like to say. So we're going to spend some time, just a couple of minutes, I'm going to let you know kind of who we are, who is AGS, have a little bit of background about the company itself. I want to share just a small bit of information about what is AGS Prime. What is our commercial software product? What does that even mean? We're going to then switch gears and dive right into a live walkthrough of the application itself. So this is going to be a walkthrough of our pre-built compliant template, our solution for tracking and reporting for Apprenticeship Building America grant itself. So we're going to spend some time talking about that. We're going to provide a quick little overview of the application. We're going to dive right into reports. I'm going to show you how to run the WIPS report, everybody's favorite report. We'll look through the QPR report, some other reports that we have. Then we're going to switch gears and head over to the application side, the data entry side, so you can get kind of a quick look at what forms look like for the data entry process. This is really architected as a case management application to support a generic case management business process. Humans helping humans, right? It just so happens that all of the fields and the business rules and the data validation requirements and the field values that are required for the apprenticeship Pearl for your WIPS report to be compliant for this grant are baked into the application. So while we're taking someone through intake or registration and then program enrollment and tracking their trainings, tracking their credentials, their completions and their program exit, all of that is magically or not so magically tracking the data that's required for this grant while providing you and your staff a familiar case management process. And that's really going to be the bulk of today's session. And we'll wrap up. So if that all makes sense, if that's what you thought you were going to do today, you are in the right place. So let's go ahead and get started. So just again, a little bit about us, a little bit about AGS. So AGS is a boutique software, commercial software development company. We have focused on federal grants and supporting federal grants and grantees for over 23 years. We are very much industry experts, H-1B experts, WIPS experts for sure. We have supported hundreds of organizations over the years for WIPS reporting and DOL ETA grants, from WIA to WIOA, through the TACT grants, through America's Promise, Tech Hire and SWIFFY, now to closing the skills gap, scaling apprenticeship, One Workforce, rural healthcare, and Apprenticeship Building America. Soon on the EDA side, we will be supporting Good Jobs Challenge. So lots of different areas that we cover. Each of those grants that I've just mentioned, we provided pre-built compliant templates or applications for our customers, our subscribers to be able to use for this data entry process, to be able to click the magic button and produce a compliant WIPS report. Oh, I guess my kitty cat wants to come in. Okay. Sorry about that. Come on. We are very much a high-tech and high-touch organization. So yes, we're a commercial software development company, but we provide personalized training for all of our customers for both applications, for the domain, user group sessions, unlimited administrative technical support, live or via email. So we really value our customers being able to contact us for support and not have to think about that being yet another cost. It's all built into the process. We, as I mentioned, we work with a variety of organizations nationwide for a lot of specialty grants and lots of different types of organizations. So that's just a little bit about us. AGS Prime is our commercial software product. It is a platform as a service, or a PaaS. For years, we've been hearing about software as a service, or SaaS products. Prime is, one of these a newer generation product, a platform as a service in a no-code platform that's visually based, drag and drop, absolutely no application developer required for building applications. And you can build as many applications as you want within the platform. We like to say it starts with an idea and a business problem oftentimes, and you need to have some way of tracking and reporting that data. We sometimes think about Excel, where Excel in and of itself doesn't solve a business problem, but you can build worksheets or workbooks that you can utilize for data entry and reporting that help you solve the problem. You can build as many worksheets as you want. Prime is the same way. You can build applications for special projects, for the afternoon job fair, for the March Madness, upcoming, or specialty grants like ABA. And that's what you use to solve your problems. And you can build as many applications as you want on the platform. Super, super fun, super easy to do. So that's a little bit at the 100,000 foot level of what Prime is itself. Come down a little bit farther. So today we're going to focus on one of the applications that we make available, that we have built using our own Prime platform in this no-code environment, to have built out a compliant Apprenticeship Building America solution for data entry and reporting. Okay, so obviously we need to be able to track participant level data and all of the data that's required for the Pearl, for the apprentice Pearl. And we know that we need to be able to track employer information. So we have an integrated employer management component, or a CRM, if you will. Now we know that over the years, DOL ETA has become more and more interested in requiring, in fact, more data about your employer outreach activities. None of that is required for the Pearl, but we know that in your quarterly narrative report, your QNR, I was going to say, there's some expectations that you will provide some information about how many employers you're reaching out to or working with or have on board as part of apprenticeships, et cetera, et cetera. So we've always included this integrated CRM, so you can track your participants and your participant record level data, as well as your employer outreach in a CRM tracking tool, and have those two talk to each other. Very important. So reports, right? Everybody has to deal with WIPS reporting. We focus on that Pearl data and the rules and the validations and the requirements so that you can have this data entry process, and then you as the administrators can go to the report side and click the magic button, as I like to say, that produces your WIPS report for you. And we keep that up to date as the feds make changes, and they do. So part of what we provide for you is an ongoing, updated application as the feds make changes. For you to be able to run your own reports, run the canned reports, run queries directly out of the system. So with all that said, that's kind of the overview. Let's get right to the live demonstration. Go on. Sorry. Working from home, right? Good stuff. Okay, so let's jump over to the application real quick. So here is my Prime application. I've logged in. And what you're seeing here is the actual template. So in my template, my demo, if you will, I have our AGS Prime logo and this text. This is all editable, by you for your organization. You don't have to have the Prime logo here. Most of our customers have project logos, or maybe the main grantee will have their logo here. So it's really branded for your project. And then whatever text you want to have here. So you'll see I make this just a little bit bigger. You can see we've got our menu across the top. We call those modules. And then we see on the left-hand navigation side over here, we see different aspects of the application that will show up for you depending upon where you are in the application. So you can tell Prime to get you a form, or go give me a view, or run a report, etc., etc. So that's sort of the basic architecture of the application. I've logged in as an administrator, so I see all aspects of the tool itself. You will have users who will log in as frontline staff, so to speak, or from your partner organizations. The built-in security roles give you the ability to decide who has access to what portion or portions of the application itself. And we have built into the tool what we call organization level security, so that as your partner organizations, within your state or across the country, depending upon how you have your project structured, and we work with many national consortiums, that each one of those staff users from each one of your organizations will log in. And if they're not an administrator, they won't see the admin module, and maybe won't even see reports. They'll log in and they will see participant data only from their organization. Oops. The participant management module. So you see I have, as an administrator, I will always see all of the data from all of my organizations. If I belonged to Staff Org 2, for example, I would log in, go to participant management, and only see participant data from Staff Org 2. Staff Org 1 people, staff, would only see data for Staff Org 1. So all of that data is automatically segregated based on organization level security within the architecture of the application. As an administrator, I always see all of the data. I can't be locked out, for both oversight and for reporting purposes, of course. So we see our participant management, we'll come back to this in a moment, our employer management, where we see our employer CRM. We have a self-registration module in all of our apprentice applications, so that should you want to have your potential participants begin the data entry process for some of that universal demographic information, that can be exposed off your website or your partner's websites, or some collection of websites that all come together into your centralized application. And some of that data then can be offloaded, if you will, to your potential participants. Even, COVID aside, the numbers that we see that you are responsible for your proposals really lend to having some type of self-service capability built into these tools. Most of our customers use self-reg in some way, shape, or form. Let me just take a jump back here. And then we have our admin module. So the application administration module itself is here so that even though this is a pre-built application that's compliant for ABA regs, we know that there are some aspects of your project that may be different from somebody over in Ohio or Indiana or Florida or wherever the case might be, where you put something different in your proposals specific to your demographics and industry sectors and partners, where you're going to want to have some catalogs to pre-fill so that your data entry staff have drop downs to pick from, as opposed to keystroking data entry, and everybody does it differently. So it's easier for your data entry staff, and it means clean reporting. Okay, so under the application admin module, we provide you some capabilities for just managing your own application. We won't let you configure yourself out of compliance, but we do let you, kind of buff and polish around the edges a little bit. And then reports. This is really, really important. So within our reports module, there will be additional reports added here very shortly. To get started, however, for today's demonstration, we have two kinds of reports. We have pre-built, parameterized, pretty, if you will, reports, canned reports that you would expect with a commercial product. And that's this list of 3 here. And then we have queries. We always include in our templates, a series of a couple dozen queries, including this Mathematica query. For those of you who are running any other H-1B grants, Mathematica is probably expecting you to provide them some data already. So we always include a handful of queries, giving you the ability to literally download your data, every field from every form, for your own analytical purposes. So if you're really familiar with Microsoft BI or Power BI rather, or Tableau or CSS, or just want to build your own Excel reports or Crystal reports, whatever the case might be, it's your data. We give you access to it 24/7. Just download it if you want to just get the raw data. But back to reports. I'm going to run just a couple of these quick reports here. First among equals, of course, everybody's favorite report, the WIPS CSV file. So again, we take your data, transcribe it so it has all the right aliasing, puts in the correct or specification order for Pearl 2021, and you can select from this parameter box what you're going to be reporting. So we'll say it's ABA grant, calendar year 2022, where we're going to be reporting Q3 here pretty soon. We give you the ability to include a header for your own analytical purposes. If you're really running this for the feds, you would say no, which is the default. For today, I'm going to include the header, just so you can see, for those of you who have studied your Perl, and I know you have, you can see that we have the columns in place. We also give you a final error report. So yes, we have built-in error checking on the fields, on the forms, between fields, and between forms. So we do everything we can to make sure that data entry is correct and accurate and complete on the data entry side. However, for WIPS reporting, there are a number of fields that are not direct data entry, but they are computed based on a handful of fields working together. And so for those, we can't check those on data entry. So we give you a final check of your data using an error checking file. So if I wanted to ignore the error file, yes or no, which means that if I have errors, it will automatically present an error file for me, so I can check my errors, correct my errors, before I ever send anything over to the feds. So you are never sending a file with errors off to DOL ETA. right? First rule of good project management, eliminate surprises, right? So we always give you that error checking. I'm going to say yes, ignore the error file for today. You can run this report with additional fields should you want to, again, for your own analysis. I'm going to say no. You can run your WIPS file for all of your partner agencies individually or for all, which is what you would do if you were sending this report off to the feds. So I'm going to go ahead and run this report. Take just a couple of seconds here. And I'll open this up. And here's my report. So let me make this a little bit bigger and expose the columns. So we provide you your unique identifier, your OBS number, and we'll just kind of scroll across here and see that we in fact have all of these columns of data that you're expecting to see in your WIPS file. Okay? We have our QPR. And I'll run this QPR real quickly. So once again, I'll run this for the ABA grant for the same time period, calendar year 2022, Q3, run my report. And this gives you the ability to have a preview of your QPR before the feds send you back the QPR based on your validated WIPS file. So when your WIPS file is complete and you send it off and it's without errors, the feds will send you back an email saying, yes, in fact, that's good. Do you want to validate it? And you will say yes, and then they will send you back a QPR. Oops, that looks like this. There we go. And this is based on the most recent QPR 9173 apprenticeship. And so this is what you'll be able to preview in advance. You won't send this report to the feds, but this gives you the ability, again, project management, to know what the feds know. In advance, you can stay on top of your data as a project manager and a grant manager. So, and then the feds will send you back their version of the QPR, and it should look just like this. If it doesn't, of course, we want to know. So again, just in the vein of good project management, we just want you to be able to have that information in advance. Okay, so the code book for the analysts on the call, and I know there are some of you out there, I'm going to run my code book, and I'm going to specifically run my WIPS CSV file code book so you can see exactly how we are handling every single data element, DE number, and how we are handling it. So if you think about that apprenticeship Pearl spreadsheet in all of its glory and somewhat confusing state sometimes, we really digest that for you so that the Pearl information from the feds is stated right here in much more direct language, if you will. And then we compare that to where does this live on Prime? It lives, this field lives on the training form. This is the name of the field. This is the name of the WIPS field. And here's how Prime is handling this field for error checking and for logical rules. So you know everything about every single field in your application. We can do searching for incumbent if we want to see anything like that. Just get right to these fields and see everything, how we're handling it. We keep this up to date along with the application itself, so everything remains in sync. As I mentioned before, as the feds make changes, we keep your application up to date as well. So we also have here a participant login, so your participants can not only log in and create that profile, but we give you an ability, it'll be an option, if you want your participants to create their own user ID and log in, and then they can keep track of some information about their, I'll open up Buddy Holly. and some information about what Buddy Holly is up to. So he can keep track of information about his trainings and his timesheets if you want your staff or your data entry people or your participants to manage timesheet data. You can decide how you best want to do that. If you want that to be something you want your participants to manage, maybe through their cell phones, right? Enter in their hours, or if that you want that to be a staff function, it can be done either way. So let's jump over to the participant management side so you can see what it looks like with my staff hat on, so to speak. Once again, I'll pick on Buddy Holly. And Buddy is here. Here's his participant profile data. This is that initial registration form as a staff person. The staff organization is on this form, and that's how Prime manages that organization level security. So that's always stamped into the profile. And basic demographics specific for the ABA. You may notice that we've got the only allowed field values here for the field for, let's say, employment status, the help text for this field that comes directly from the Pearl. You'll see that all of these fields have help text defining what these fields do. We didn't make it up, it comes directly from the feds, really trying to help your data entry staff have an easier time of putting in data, excuse me, putting in clean data and making it easy for you to run reports. Excuse me. So we can go back here and see his grant enrollment. So we've documented that Buddy Holly is supposed to be enrolled in the grant. So here's the grant information. Right here, just a handful of fields that we're going to keep track of. Our post-exit follow-up information is right here. These fields aren't hot. They're not required because we haven't exited Buddy from the program yet, right? We're going to keep track of a pre-apprentice program if he's a pre-apprentice and then enrolled in an apprenticeship, so you can graduate those activities, if you will. We're going to keep track of the apprenticeship training program, and I have a folder here so we keep track of the apprenticeship training program, and then all of the individual trainings that Buddy might be partaking in, the goal hours, right, for each of those skills that he's going to be working towards, and the credentials that he will eventually attain. So you can track as many trainings and as many credentials as is needed for this particular participant in this particular program. And then AGS Prime will do the heavy lifting of reporting only what's required by the WIPS report on any given quarter for each participant. But you can track all of them so you can really see the level of effort for someone who came in the door who looks like this, who is enrolled in this kind of a program and received these kinds of training activities and services and credentials, and then ultimately exited the program. You know, what did that really look like? What was successful or not so successful out of that entire process? So once again, we're going to go back here to Buddy. And we can keep track of his trainings, all of his timesheets. So he has a goal of 2875. He's still at 24. So it's just a heads up, as I mentioned before, staff can enter timesheets, participants can enter timesheets, and that data will flow into the participants folder. You decide how much or how little your participant over here, your public user, should be able to see within their own case folder, if you will. As a staff person, I can see everything here. Keep track of credentials, going to keep track of measurable skills gains, keep track of services, the cost of those services should you want to. This is not an attribute of WIPS, but most of our customers do use Prime to help keep track of their support services costs and be able to have that data for their own analytics and tracking purposes. And of course, we can keep track of case notes and participant attachments, neither of which are WIPS reportable items, but as part of a comprehensive client tracking or case management tool. Those are attributes that really need to be here. And even though case notes are not part of WIPS, I have heard nearly countless stories of FPOs walking into the door and asking for a case note report. So we know case notes are, that kind of information is part of an overall audit or monitoring process. So we do want to make it easy for you and your project team to track those kinds of things that might be outside of the realm of WIPS reporting, but are really part of the overall client tracking process here. With the time remaining, I'm going to jump back. I know this is super quick fire, but I'm going to jump back to my presentation here, just try to wrap up and try to be on time. So, value proposition. Why do you care? So we are 23 plus years in business. We have lots of experience with these kinds of grants. We are WIPS experts, Pearl experts, and these are pre-built compliant templates. So we have a very fast turnaround, quick to deploy, that is to say. We, as I mentioned earlier, we really pride ourselves on personal touch and lots of service and hands-on training, one-on-one training. We have multiple monthly user group sessions for a variety of our different grants, as well as the domain administrators also have their own dedicated user group session the first Thursday of every month. So we really bring everybody together for ongoing learning experiences and a community building experience for the grantees who are coming together with like issues, ideas, and the whatnot. So that's a nice part of what we bring to the table. We constantly keep the application up to date with publicly available information and that which is shared with us from our customers. And hopefully you were able to see that it's pretty straightforward WIPS reporting. I hope you were able to see that. That's our goal. It's one of the things that people love about our tools. We try to make it easy. Implementation, it's a question that's always asked, so I'm just going to address it right up front. Implementation looks just like as simple as it looks like here. We have a one-page order form that gets approved. You give me your domain name and we turn your site on. It generally takes a few days, depending on people's schedules. Everybody is hosted in AWS or Amazon Web Services. So all of our customers have their own dedicated virtualized web server. So there is no commingling of data amongst our customers. Everyone is completely hardwalled. It's a single tenant environment for those of you who are taking notes, okay? Salesforce, not to pick on Salesforce, but they are well known. They are a multi-tenant environment. For these kinds of projects with this kind of data being hypersensitive to PII, we have always had individual dedicated IP addresses and domain names for all of our customers. Hosted on AWS gives you the additional benefit of all of the AWS security and privacy benefits that they bring, and that architecture, SOC 1, SOC 2 capabilities that in reporting that are part of that are extremely important for DOL ETA grants. We schedule your training, complete your training. That typically looks like a couple or 3 2-hour application admin trainings that will take you through a walkthrough of the application, much like we just did, but a little slower. I'll show you and train you on how to use all of those application administrative functions so you can, basically set up your application. Not all the fields and forms that's already done. You're going to add your organizations, your users. You're going to add your NAICS code catalog, your ONET code catalog, your training name catalog, your credential name catalog, those kinds of things. And that's going to be really specific to your project. Super simple. Once you're done with that, we'll have another follow-on meeting. So we'll do a follow-on to your application admin. That's that 2 or 3 session where we really get you set up. When that's all done, you're ready for your go live. You're ready to turn around and train your end users. It's just that straightforward. I apologize. I have gone 2 minutes over my allotted time, but I appreciate everybody being here today. I really, really do. Thank you so much. Here's my contact information. If you have, if you liked what you saw, so to speak, you want to get back together, you have any specific questions, you want to bring some of your other teammates back to the table, let me know. My job is really education. If this is something that you're interested in, I'm here to really help see how this can support you. So let me know. Again, congrats to all of you on winning your grant. Thank you for all the hard work that you do. I know it's not easy. Even though I'm on this side of the fence, so to speak, I know it's a lot. Really appreciate it. And thank you all for your time today. Take care and let me know if I can help. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.